The moment you feel it rise, that heat in your chest, that tight jaw, that urge to send the message, to slam the door, to eat something, to scroll until your eyes blur, it feels like you have already lost. It feels like your body has made a decision and your mind is just forced to watch. If you know that feeling, you are not weak. You are human. You are dealing with a nervous system that learned long ago that emotion is a fire alarm, not a weather report. Most people think emotional regulation means staying calm. That is not it. Emotional regulation means staying in contact with yourself while you feel something real. It means you can notice the wave without becoming the wave. It means you can have anger without becoming cruel, fear without disappearing, sadness without collapsing, desire without giving away your future for a short moment of relief. Here is what makes this hard. Emotions move faster than thoughts. Your brain has a threat system that is designed to act before you can explain. When it senses danger, it shifts resources away from long-term planning and toward survival. The part of you that weighs consequences goes quiet. The part of you that scans for threat gets loud. This is why you can understand something logically and still do the opposite at midnight when you are tired and raw. So I want to give you a more accurate picture. An emotion is not a command. It is data plus energy. The data is what your brain thinks is happening. The energy is what your body prepares to do. If your body is preparing to fight, you feel anger. If it is preparing to escape, you feel fear. If it is preparing to conserve, you feel sadness. The feeling is real, but the story attached to it can be wrong. That is the key. Regulation is not denying the feeling. It is working with the data and the energy before they hijack your behavior. A lot of people live inside what psychology calls stimulus response. That means something happens and you react. No space, no choice. Emotional regulation creates a pause. Not a perfect pause, just enough space to choose what you do next. That pause is not willpower. It is a skill you build, like balance. You do not balance by telling yourself to balance. You balance by adjusting in tiny ways again and again. I think the first technique is the one nobody wants to hear, because it sounds too simple. It is naming what is happening. In psychology, this is called affect labeling, which means putting a simple name on your emotion. When I say to myself, I am feeling anxious, I am feeling rejected, I am feeling ashamed, something shifts. I stop being the emotion and I start observing it. The brain areas involved in language and meaning help calm the threat system. Not because words are magic, but because clarity reduces uncertainty, and uncertainty is a major fuel for panic. Try to notice how often you skip that step. You go straight from sensation to action. Tight chest becomes scrolling. Heavy stomach becomes snacking. Buzzing restlessness becomes texting someone you should not text. If you can name it first, even quietly, you interrupt the automatic chain. You are building a habit loop break. A habit loop is cue, routine, reward. The cue is the feeling. The routine is the impulsive behavior. The reward is relief. Affect labeling wedges itself between cue and routine. Now I want to talk about the body, because regulation is not a purely mental thing. Your mind lives inside your physiology. If your body is in high arousal, your thoughts will match it. The simplest way to change arousal is to change your breathing. Not in a dramatic way, in a mechanical way. Long exhales signal safety. When you extend the exhale, you activate the parasympathetic system, the part that slows you down. The goal is not to feel bliss. The goal is to lower the volume enough to think. I picture it like turning down a loud radio. The song is still playing, but now I can hear myself. If you are in an argument in your head or you are about to send that message, you do not need a perfect meditation. You need 2 minutes where your exhale is longer than your inhale. Your body will get the memo. Not instantly, but enough. Another technique is grounding, which means using your senses to anchor in the present. When emotion spikes, your attention narrows. You stop seeing options. The world becomes a tunnel. Grounding widens the tunnel. I do it by noticing physical facts: the weight of my feet on the floor, the texture of fabric on my wrist, the temperature of the air, the sound of a distant appliance. These details are not spiritual. They are signals to the brain that you are here now and not back in an old memory. Because that is what intense emotion often is. It is not just about what is happening, it is about what it reminds you of. Your nervous system is a historian. It carries old lessons forward. If you grew up having to earn safety, your body may treat silence as danger. If you were punished for needing things, your body may treat asking as shame. This is why you can feel 10 years old in a grown adult moment. Emotional regulation is partly learning to tell time internally. This is now, not then. There is a cognitive skill that matters here. In psychology, we call it cognitive reappraisal, which means changing the meaning you assign to a situation, not lying to yourself, not forcing positivity, just checking the first interpretation. Your brain is a prediction machine. It guesses what things mean. When you are dysregulated, it guesses in the direction of threat. That is called a negativity bias, which means the mind weighs negative information more heavily than positive because it is trying to keep you alive. So I slow down and ask, what else could be true? Maybe they are busy, not rejecting me. Maybe I made a mistake, not a catastrophe. Maybe I feel exposed, not actually in danger. The emotion may still be there, but the story softens. And when the story softens, the energy becomes easier to steer. Steering is the next piece. You cannot always reduce the emotion in the moment. Sometimes you have to channel it. Anger is energy for protection. If you suppress it, it leaks out sideways as sarcasm, contempt, or self-punishment. If you explode it, you damage trust. Regulation is finding a clean outlet. Clean means it does not create new problems. I might write what I want to say and not send it. I might move my body, a fast walk, a few minutes of tension and release because the body wants completion. Stress is designed for action. If there is no action, it loops. Anxiety is similar. Anxiety is energy for preparation. When it has no task, it becomes rumination, which means repetitive thinking that feels productive but goes nowhere. Rumination is like running in place. You burn energy and you do not arrive. A regulated move is to give anxiety a job that is small and real. One email, one plan for tomorrow morning, one glass of water, one shower. When you do a concrete action, you convert vague threat into manageable steps. The nervous system likes signals of progress. Now let me get honest about a pattern many people have. They try to regulate only when they are already at 10 out of 10. That is like trying to learn to swim during a storm. The real work is earlier. Emotional regulation is a daily maintenance practice. Sleep, food, movement, light, social contact, these are not lifestyle tips. They are nervous system inputs. When you are depleted, your threshold drops. You become more reactive. You interpret neutral faces as hostile. You read short texts as rejection. You crave quick comfort. That is not a moral failure. That is biology. There is also identity involved. If you secretly believe I am just an angry person or I am just anxious, you will act in ways that confirm it. That is confirmation bias, which means you notice evidence that supports what you already believe and ignore the rest. A more helpful identity is, I am someone who has strong emotions and I practice handling them. That sounds small, but it changes the direction of your effort. It makes regulation something you do, not something you are or are not. I want to touch the hard emotion that sits under many others. Shame. Shame is not guilt. Guilt says I did something wrong. Shame says I am wrong. Shame makes people hide. Shame makes people attack. Shame makes people numb out. If you struggle with regulation, shame will often ride along whispering that you should be over this by now. That whisper is gasoline. When you notice shame, label it. Shame is here. Then add one sentence of reality. I am having a human reaction. This is not the same as excusing harmful behavior. It is refusing to punish yourself while you are trying to learn. A powerful regulation tool is what I call delayed obedience. The feeling says act now. Regulation says wait 5 minutes. You are not saying no forever. You are saying not yet. That reduces the panic of deprivation. Your brain can tolerate waiting better than it can tolerate forbidden. This matters with cravings, with angry texts, with doom scrolling, with checking on someone who has not replied. Most impulses peak and fall like a wave. If you can surf the peak, you usually do not drown. There is a social side too. Many people co-regulate without realizing it. Co-regulation means your nervous system calms in the presence of a safe person. A steady voice, a calm face, a predictable response. If you did not get much of that early in life, you may have to learn self-regulation more deliberately. But you can still borrow safety from the world. Sit near people in a cafe. Call someone who is grounded. Listen to a voice that slows you down. This is not dependence. This is using the fact that humans are wired for connection. And there is one more technique that is quietly life-changing. It is making room for mixed feelings. Most dysregulation comes from fighting what you feel. You are angry and you are also scared. You miss someone and you are also relieved they are gone. You love your job and you are also exhausted by it. The mind wants one label. The body can hold more than one truth. When you allow complexity, the emotion becomes less extreme. Extremes often come from forcing a simple story onto a complex reality. When I practice all of this, I notice something subtle. The emotion still visits, but it does not own the house. It knocks. I feel it in my throat, in my stomach, behind my eyes. I name it.